For several weeks now, Sky News Investigations has been probing the unethical behaviour of superannuation companies. This reporting has pushed funds to apologise to grieving families for dragging out claims for months. Now, Australia's first ever superannuation minister, under a Labor government has joined coalition calls to investigate what's going wrong. This could see unregulated administration companies, which operate behind the scenes, finally put under the spotlight of the financial regulator. Jonathan Lea has the third part of this special investigation.
Greg Teagle's life has been on hold for 2.5 years. With thinning of the spinal cord, the Gold Coast mechanic can't work. He describes being on a merry-go-round with call centres and claims assessors as he fights to have his permanent disability claim paid out.
Oh, how frustrating has it been? Yeah, pretty hard to deal with, hard to sleep, hard to concentrate.
Greg held insurance through AMP. Its books have now been taken over by Resolution Life. It rejected his total and permanent disability over an exclusion in his policy. When contested, though, the Australian Financial Complaints Authority directed Resolution Life to pay a figure equal to his claim. It's gotten messy.
Rang my sister, my wife, my friends, and I told them that, you know, we finally got a resolution. And then all of a sudden on the 19th of July, yeah, they appeal it. They just say, no, we're going to appeal it in the federal court. And I can't afford a lawyer.
Bruno Maraka is a claims advocate. He talks of claims fatigue.
So there's a stat there that suggests that within the first 60 days, 50% of individuals or families will give up with certain claims because it's just too stressful.
Some companies, says Bruno, still insist on information being posted in.
By slowing down the process, essentially it creates a trust deficit in the industry. And what I mean by that is the members do not trust that the insurer will pay the benefit.
We are very sympathetic to any customer, Resolution Life told Sky News in a statement. Paying claims is such an important part of what we do. Last year, Resolution Life Australasia paid $1.1 billion in insurance claims to 8,325 customers.
A lot of people, I suspect, just give up, which I find really sad.
As a senior financial planner, Kelly Roche says the sector is struggling with the loss of thousands of advisors.
I'd say there are some insurers that have a better reputation in the industry than others, and a lot of insurance companies have been sold from one provider to another provider, so who you took your policy out with may not be the same person that it's currently sitting with, so I would recommend people get their policies reviewed.
AFCA is dealing with an explosion in complaints from insurance to superannuation, and for good reason. Over the last few weeks, Sky News has exposed repeated examples of Australian Super and CBUS delaying payments to grieving families. Caught out, it's led the funds to apologise. It's got Wacker Williams, the man who led the charge for the Banking Royal Commission, calling for a new inquiry to clean up the sector once and for all.
I don't think it's spent enough time looking at superannuation, and now these problems have certainly come to the public arena now. This is where the government needs to initiate an inquiry, see what recommendations come out of it, and see the superannuation funds do their job properly.
Now Sky News can also reveal Australia's first ever superannuation minister, Nick Sherry, backs a probe. The former Labor senator who chairs TWU Super is keen for a review into the unregulated administration companies that are privately contracted to staff the call centres and claims departments at super funds and insurers. He says the admin companies operate behind the scenes, and when it comes to customer complaints, they too need to be scrutinised.
I think the best approach would be to get APRA and ASIC together to, and probably some industry experts to look at how you would oversight platform technology businesses. I don't think it would take a great deal of time, frankly.
As Sky News discovered, no admin company in the super and insurance sectors comes bigger than Link Group. It claims to service 41% of all superannuation accounts in Australia. That includes Australian Super and CBUS. Link also lists Smart Pension, Rest, Hester and Host Plus as key clients. In recent years, Link's share price has tumbled from its peak in 2018 to now around $1.35 a share. On the online review website Glassdoor, those who claim to be past and present employees publicly shame the company and its impact on frustrated customers.
This company has the highest turnover rate that I've ever personally witnessed. People are constantly leaving the company and don't stay in their role because the amount of work becomes unsustainable. The customers don't hear from the company, and in some instances, for months.
The workload is insane.
Puts costs and budgets first, not customers.
Low pay, high turnover, unrealistic expectations, staff expected to do the work of 3 case managers.
And this from an alleged claims assessor.
If you go on holidays, your portfolio will not be touched or helped with, and you will come back to a lot of overdue work. You are basically overworked and underpaid, as they do not have enough staff to deal with all the claims.
Link declined an interview for this story, saying via statement, "Each and every insurance claim is processed with the utmost of care and diligence. We are committed to ensuring all members are serviced as quickly as possible."
Where a platform IT business is not up to scratch, not delivering, I think the regulator needs to be able to intervene and get them to lift their game if they're not performing.
For Greg Teagle, the problems with superannuation and life insurance are eerily similar.
Like I say, they want me to disappear or they want me to give up.
You don't think you'll know a result until when?
I've been told it could be another year.
Another year of waiting.
It's just not good enough, is it? Let's bring in Jonathan Lea. Where to next, Jonathan?
Well, we've been following this story for a number of weeks now, and it's firstly clear the federal government needs to understand the true depth of the frustration here. Nicholas Sherry, in many regards, was the nation's first real superannuation minister. He's obviously followed the industry and the sector for decades. He made the point privately to me that super funds have been working very hard behind the scenes when it comes to the handling of disputes. He is, though, concerned about the inherent weakness in the system when it comes to these administration companies that we are dealing with, often without realising that they are a contracted company. He wants to see a federal regulator have the power to hold these companies to account. They'll often sign contracts, for instance, with the super fund of up to 5 years. If they're not doing the job, it is difficult to take them to task. He doesn't want to see a royal commission, the likes of which we went through 6 years ago. He's in favour of something similar to what's recently happened in the United Kingdom, a probe or a review per se, which would look into these admin funds or these admin companies. I've also got to make the point that every couple of days I receive another email from somebody who's pointing out an issue they've got with a major fund and how they're struggling to get access to it. The new minister, Stephen Jones, told us in our first investigation that these companies, these funds were on notice. He fired a shot across the bow. It's now his job to step up. The federal government has obviously been consumed with The Voice. When that draws to a close over the weekend, it will have the opportunity, if it so chooses, to look into the handling and the practices of super funds, insurance companies and the like here.